What if you just skipped Thanksgiving? I'm talking no turkey, no dishes, no cooking for 2 days straight. Just packing up your whole family and trading it all in for one of the most busiest, most magical, most chaotic places on earth, Disney World. Well, that's exactly what I did with my family this year. Instead of a traditional dinner, 3 generations of us flew to Orlando. And I'm gonna be honest, we heard the horror stories. The crowds are insane, it's too expensive, you'll be miserable. And parts of that were true. Thanksgiving Day was very packed, but we made one strategic decision with our itinerary that saved the entire trip and turned a chaotic week into a core memory for us. In this video, I'm gonna share exactly what Thanksgiving week at Disney felt like, the specific hotel strategy that kept 8 people from losing their minds, the total costs, and the do's and don'ts you need to know before you book. But firstly, here's why we traded our turkey for a ticket. Let's talk about energy and vibes. When you go to Disney Thanksgiving week, you're basically walking into the holiday season. I'm talking Christmas trees taller than buildings, garlands everywhere, holiday music playing before Thanksgiving and after. It felt warm, nostalgic, alive. But I promise you no sugarcoating. The crowds were real. The lines were long, and the weather is completely unpredictable. And yet somehow it still was very magical for us. So instead of just telling you it was busy, here's exactly how our week played out and the specific adjustments that really saved us. We arrived in Disney on a Monday, the Monday before Thanksgiving, and we checked into our hotel and decided to have a welcome dinner at the resort, just nothing fancy. And this is my first tip. Do not, I repeat, do not try to hit the parks on the travel day. Use that time to exhale, reconnect, talk about your game plan because you need one. And that one calm night gave us the energy we needed for the marathon ahead. So the second day, which is Tuesday, we went straight to Magic Kingdom and honestly was shockingly calm. 80-degree weather, blue skies, manageable lines. We hit the rides without rushing and just soaked it in. It felt like the Disney day you would hope for. And this brings me to tip number 2. If you're going during a holiday week, go to the main park on a regular weekday first versus just the holiday, because we got our perfect Disney day out of the way on the Tuesday, our first day. We didn't feel the pressure to do everything on the day of the holiday when the crowds hit. By Wednesday, our second day, we were at Hollywood Studios and the crowds woke up. It was harder, busier, and we were all hunting for shade and frozen lemonade, and maybe some donuts. But by the time we made it to Epcot that night, the vibe completely shifted. It felt like New Year's Eve, people were everywhere, cocktails in hand, music was buzzing during the Around the World showcase. Which brings me to tip number 3. Be flexible with your start times. Wednesday was a slower morning for us, which meant we had the energy to enjoy the electric nightmare atmosphere that night without burning out the kids or the grandparents. So then came the big day, Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. So if Tuesday was like a gentle breeze, Thursday was a football stadium during the Super Bowl. It was packed, shoulder to shoulder, high energy, excitement everywhere. And then the weather completely flipped on us. It went from warm to cold quickly. Like my mom and I were in shorts looking at each other. Oh no, we can't stay like this. We sprinted to the Emporium, which is like their gift shop, and bought sweatshirts, and it was absolute chaos. It felt like Black Friday, but with Disney prices. Everybody was grabbing whatever hoodie they could find. People were shivering, laughing, and layering up all at the same time. And so that moment taught me tip number 4. Pack layers, even in Florida. You plan and then you surrender. But remember that tip number 2 I gave you before? So because we had already done Magic Kingdom on Tuesday, we didn't feel like we had to push through the cold just to get our money's worth. We could actually enjoy the madness for what it was and then leave. One day for wonder, one day for madness. Now, most importantly, let's talk about where we slept. This brings me to tip number 5. If you are traveling with multiple people, multiple generations, Comfort is not a luxury, it's a strategy. We stayed at the Disney World Dolphin Hotel, which is technically a Marriott property, but you still get Disney perks like entering the park a half hour early. We made this choice because it was really strategic for 3 reasons. First, we didn't have to rent a car. We could walk or take a ferry to Epcot Center or Hollywood Studios. Secondly, easy transportation for everybody. No long treks, no bus stops. And then thirdly, the room setup. We booked 1 premium suite and 1 standard room for our group of 8. Now, the suite became like our hub. Every morning and night, we squeezed into the living room to debrief, laugh, share snacks, and plan the next move, because you need to plan. And it made the trip feel connected instead of scattered. So if you're traveling with family, get a hub room. It will definitely save you your sanity. Now, inside the parks, Disney is magical. But Disney without a plan is not magical at all. So here are the 5 investments that you actually need, and it really saved our trip. So tip number 6 is get lightning lane passes. I'll say it clearly, it was worth every single penny. 8 people standing in a 90-minute line? Absolutely not. Lightning lane kept the kids happy, kept my mom from overextending herself, and stopped us from hitting a wall like, I'm done and I'm out. Tip number 7, park hopper is your freedom. This was our escape. If we needed to nap, we could leave early. If we wanted to go to Epcot for dinner after Animal Kingdom, done. It literally removed the pressure of feeling stuck in one place all day trying to do it all. And then tip number 8, don't trust your iPhone or any phone for everything. Get the memory maker. Honestly, I was skeptical. We all have phones. Like, why do we need a memory maker? But the PhotoPass photographers were everywhere. One person pays about $210 and everyone links to it. The best family photos we have came from them and not my blurry selfies. So tip number 9, magic bands represent independence, especially for the kids. It became their ticket, their ride pass, and their room key. Well, not for the Marriott, but you can. They love scanning themselves in. It gave them ownership over their experience. And then finally, tip number 10, the survival kits. Pack a suitcase with lots of snacks and buy a case of water. Because when we enter the park, by 9 a.m., everyone wants a snack. They don't want to stand in line for food. And standing in line for an $8 pretzel every hour just doesn't make sense. In addition, pack 2 pairs of sneakers. You're walking almost 20,000 steps a day, so at least you can alternate them. I mean, it may not be the cutest thing, but be strategic. Now, here's the real deal. Let's talk the numbers. For our group of 8, the core expenses, hotel, park hopper, tickets, and airport shuttles, all came about to $10,000. So let's break that down roughly, which is about $1,250 per person. That does not include the food and passes, the photo pass, or the emergency I'm freezing sweatshirts. So yes, Disney is a significant investment. But here's how I view it in most trips in my life. You aren't just paying for rides. You're paying for that moment your niece meets Tiana. You're paying for your mom smiling at It's a Small World. You're paying for a week where your whole family breathes at the same time. So for us, it didn't feel wasteful. It felt intentional, you know? So was it worth it for me and my family? Yes. Not because it was perfect, and definitely not because it was cheap. It was worth it because in a season where so much has changed for us, we gave ourselves permission to create a new version of a holiday. Traditions can evolve, that we can choose joy, and that a holiday means connection, not just a specific turkey dinner at a specific table. You know what I mean? So I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever skipped a traditional holiday to do something totally different? Or a tradition your family refuses to let go of? If this has helped you plan a trip or even just rethink your holidays, hit the like button so like more families can find it. And if you want more honest conversations about trip planning, places to visit, how to do it, creating a life that feels good, just making life more enjoyable, subscribe and stick around. Until the next video, take care and take breaks.